Back while I was in college, I always tried to find odd-end jobs to make some extra money to spend. My parents paid for my dorm and basically gave me a small allowance for food and supplies that I needed, but anything extra that I wanted or needed, I had to work for it myself. The college was my parents' choice anyway, so I guess I was lucky not to have to worry about it, but it still wouldn't have been my first choice. Anyways, I would browse Craigslist for jobs like cleaning, baby/pet/house sitting, running errands, and just things like that. I tended to be successful with my inquiries as well. As wrong as it may sound, I was a younger female in a local college, just trying to earn some extra money, so they tended to trust me quicker than other applicants, I suppose. So, I found one listed on housekeeping, basically. The description said they just needed someone to come and tidy up. Wipe down the cabinets, tables, drawers, dust, mop, and vacuum, things like that. Usually the homes I did this at, the people either left when I was there, or in a separate room like an office, or I've had elderly people who couldn't get around and do these types of things anymore. The description also said the person responding had to be female, in a certain age range, which was in my age range, like college student ranges. I know it may sound stupid now, but like I said, I saw that and again thought they just wanted someone local that was possibly in school. Something like that. Nothing really creepy about it. So I responded to it. I got a response pretty quickly asking when I could start, and I suggested over the weekend since I was in school. They agreed, and actually said if they liked my work, they wanted to talk about a recurring job, doing this once or twice a week. Again, I thought this was going to be great as it was going to be steady income. They were going to pay me about $200 for 4 hours that Saturday, and then we were talking about a weekly gig for around the same amount for 4 to 8 hours, so again, I was ready and excited to make some easy money. I was not thinking of any negative consequences other than maybe the house was really messy. But that's what I'm getting myself into. Otherwise, I wouldn't have applied. So, Saturday came, I got the address and headed out to the location. It was a fairly small house, like 1 story. Maybe a basement, but there couldn't be more than 2 rooms and a bathroom. So even if it was a wreck, at least there shouldn't be too much to do. From the outside, though, the house looked pristine. It had a really pretty foggy glass on the door and teal curtains in the window. But when he answered the door, the first thing I noticed was the smell. It was awful. It smelled like a bunch of spoiled food was just thrown at me. I knew I had to have made a face when he answered, but it was hard enough choking back the gag. The man, on the other hand, it looked completely different. His hair looked clean and greased back. He had on slacks and a wrinkled button-up shirt, but it was open and he didn't have anything underneath it. He just stared at me until I greeted him and told him why I was there, to which he looked me up and down a few times, smiled, and then welcomed me in. Holy hell, that place looked awful. If you've seen Hoarders, that's pretty much what I stepped into. There were trash bags everywhere with God knows what in them, to-go food containers strewn across the floor, the couch, the bookshelf, some with food still in them, some empty. I'm sure that's partially what I smelled, too. You could see the roaches immediately scatter when you moved anything. I'm taking all this in, and he just looks absolutely fine with this situation, like it's a normal cleaning job. Then, as he continues to talk about what he expects out of me, he does not take his eyes off of me, and I'm not talking eye contact. He said he wanted to start by taking out some unwanted things and then reorganizing. To me, it all looked like garbage. I could barely make out a couch. All this, and every time he would address me, it would be, baby. Does that make sense, baby? Can you handle that, baby? Again, I just smiled and nodded. Now, to add to the unsettling house and the creepy vibes that I'm now getting from this guy, he then said, I'm sure after all this work, you'll probably be tired and sweaty, so you're free to use my bathroom and anything in it, baby. I won't bother you while you're in there. It's the least I can do. Yeah, no. I told him thank you, and being a little weirded out, I asked if I could go ahead and get started. To which he handed me a box of trash bags and said, You go for it, baby. I tried to press on for the time being, thinking I'm not going to be able to do this on my own in one day, so I'll fill a few trash bags, get my money, and just never return. However, instead of ignoring me or leaving the room or anything other people have done, he sat on the couch, facing me, watching me, and just staring every time I bent over to pick something up. Now, I know that I'm bound to get dirty at these, so I'd worn some old leggings and a loose t-shirt. Nothing exactly flattering, but I guess he liked something. I, on the other hand, was not comfortable with the looks that I was getting and really started to feel uncomfortable. I asked if I could use the restroom before I went further, and he seemed happy to show me to the bathroom. I walked in, closing the door behind me, and just stood there for a second, trying to think of a reason to just leave without possibly upsetting him, not knowing what he could potentially try to do. That's when I noticed how different the bathroom was compared to the rest of the house. It was damn near spotless. The shower seemed to have rust stains in it, but the tub was white and clean. The counter and floor was completely clean, and even the toilet was clean. Why was the bathroom kept up with? Then I saw the small plastic 3-drawer container sitting next to the sink. I noticed it because of the small piece of cardboard laying on top of it that said free to use. Like these were free toiletries, I guess. Curious, since the rest of the house was a disaster, I wanted to see what he kept in there. The first drawer had random soaps in it. And when I say random, I mean it. There was a half-used Dove bar, a small travel-sized bottle of shampoo, half empty, and even hand sanitizer, I think. The next drawer had random cloth in it. I think they were supposed to be hand towels, maybe, but I didn't even want to touch them. Then, there was the bottom drawer. No toiletries, towels, or anything useful for a shower. They were just adult toys. And that's when my uncomfortable level peaked, and I was ready to bounce. So I slowly closed the last drawer, flushed the toilet, and walked out ready to say that I had to leave, when I saw him immediately standing at the door waiting for me to open it. That's when he holds up a maid dress and says, "This is for you, so you can be more, comfortable while cleaning, baby." And winks at me. I first told him that I was okay with what I had on, and he became slightly agitated, saying he insisted and that it was part of the job requirement. So, thinking fast, I looked at it, told him it was too small and that it wouldn't fit me, and then before I could say anything else, he started walking off yelling that he has other sizes and that he would get the right one. As he started rambling on about where he got them and asked for my size, I gave him one that doesn't really exist in women's clothing. I think I said something like 34 large, I think, and he said to give him a moment. When I noticed he was now in the back room, out of sight, I darted for the door, noticing he had locked it behind me, and I quickly left. I got in my car, locked all my doors, and I sat there for a second gathering my thoughts when I noticed he was staring at me confused from the window. So I left. He tried messaging me about it, asking why I left, and that I wasn't going to get paid for the work I did if I didn't come back, to which I told him that due to the amount of work that I would have to do, the pay would have to be tripled. I knew there was no way he would agree to it, so that's why I went with that. To which, as expected, he replied by saying that that was an outrage, that I charged too much and I wasn't even attractive. Oh well, too bad for me, I guess. I don't take jobs from Craigslist anymore, as I do have an actual job, but I did screen them way better after that one.